Hi everyone, this is Men's here. I'm playing the Tier 8 French heavy tank, the FCM 50T, which is a premium tank, and I'm recording this live, so bear with me when I jump into a battle, if I kind of zone out. But the FCM, it's a very large tank as you can see, since it is a heavy tank, but its armor values, even though 120 millimeters sometimes isn't that bad on a tank if it's highly sloped. As you see here, its armor is not exactly sloped. It's basically a gigantic shoebox per se, and it's tall, it's long, and it's kind of wide. So you're definitely a huge target, and your armor and HP isn't exactly gonna help you. At tier 8, its HP is okay, but it's nothing stellar. What it does have going for it though, high top speed, the engine on it, pretty good. Engine power, as you see, 1000 horsepower, and with the 55 tons it weighs, with equipment added on, it does move faster than most medium tanks, especially uphill. That can be a good or a bad thing, since you can get yourself into trouble fairly early on in a match, and you can wind up dead pretty quickly. But its gun, as you see here, 90mm, which isn't a huge gun for a tier 8 heavy tank with only 240 damage per shot, but it does have a decent rate of fire at 8 rounds per minute. Penetration's okay, and the premium round being APCR does help slightly, even though the bump in penetration isn't much. Basically only gains 40mm of penetration, and since APCR only has 2 degrees in normalization compared to the 5 degrees of AP shells, hitting sloped armor actually can prove to be worse with your premium round than using AP, so just keep that in mind. The only reason I carry a lot of APCR is if you're dealing with some of the German tanks, and other than that have very thick armor that's not really sloped. That's where your APCR round can come into handy. But anyway, equipment wise, I use a pretty basic setup like I do on my other tanks. Vertical stabilizer, because you're going to be moving around a lot. I use I use improved ventilation to improve the crew, just to gain a little bit more firepower and a little bit other stats, and a rammer to increase that firepower, since you basically are just an oversized medium tank. Now, I'm going to hop into battle here and see what map we get. And highway, pretty decent map for this, since it kind of rewards mobile tanks. Those IS-3 and IS-6s are going to be a little bit of a problem though, but nothing you can't handle if their platoon's not too good. Now, more likely than not, that platoon is gonna go to the town, in my opinion. I'm gonna be going north only because I don't want to get into a close, drawn-out fight in a town in this tank, since you don't have a high damage per shot and your armor is not that good.
Que le spectacle commence.
Yeah, let's hope we get some help in the town. Not looking too good so far. We have 3 of our faster tanks going to the town, and it looks like as far as main help up here, I'm gonna have a Type and a Panther with me, which isn't too bad. I always like to kind of see who's following me instead of just little dots on the map. As long as if I have a decent amount of backup, I'll actually play a bit aggressive like I usually do. As you see, the accuracy on the move, even with a vertical stabilizer, is not that good. It makes playing this tank kind of difficult, since you can't exactly rely upon your gun while you're moving, and since you're very large, when you stop, you can run into some trouble with doing damage without being obliterated. Now you can ram people with this tank fairly well. I don't want to ram there only because he might have friends behind him. I just want to kind of wait for somebody else to come up and help. Type 59 actually has better armor than me anyway, so...
Prêt à faire feu! Où sont-ils passés? On les tient, les gars! Ils sont touchés!
Hopefully we can get this TD out. Use my prime concern, there we go. Oh, sorry dude, sorry. I didn't think you'd be moving back like that.
Il est cuit! Passez au suivant!
Kind of a little bit of a brain fart for me. As you see, I did do damage by ramming him. That was definitely my fault. I wasn't paying attention. Now, town, as you see, most of them went there, but even though you're a heavy tank, not that good to get into long, drawn-out fights in close quarters, only because you're definitely going to come out on a losing end. I'm actually going to push up through just to stop them from getting to the cap early. I'm going to rather let that Type 59 sit back since he has 5 HP.
Joli tir! On les tient, les gars!
But even though you're not a heavy tank, in a lot of senses, it does help that you're able to deal with a lot of heavy tanks. You just have to kind of use your mobility. Right here, I'm just trying to stall for them. But basically with this tank, you need to know your weaknesses and your strengths, and your strength is not being a true heavy tank in the sense. As you see, not exactly the best match for lighting up the scoreboard as far as HP damage for either team. But as you see here, top damage, you're able to really do well at fighting at a little bit over medium range. You don't want to fight too far out, only because .36 accuracy is okay, but with your bad aim time, when combined with the okay on the move accuracy, you're going to be exposed for a little bit too long and you'll take damage. But as you see here, credit wise, 52,000 with a premium count. It's decent for a tier 8 premium tank. Pretty much all tier 8 premiums make the same. It just depends on how much damage you can do. But I did get fined a little bit for running into that guy. Luckily I didn't kill him. That would have been a little bit more interesting with us capping them out. But pretty much you just want to keep in mind of this tank that you are very large. You can't really fight too close to other tier 8s because they'll be able to out damage you as far as tier 8 heavies and some TDs go. But you do have very good mobility, and your gun, it's pretty good. It's not the best gun for the amount of downsides you have, but it does its job very well and allows you to really put out a decent amount of damage over time. As far as buying this tank, I wouldn't recommend it to new players only because it is a very hard tank to play due to the size and the lack of armor. But if you're looking for a kind of a fast tier 8 premium, especially if you have a French tank, then it is a good buy since it does make a decent amount of credits, and once you kind of learn the gameplay of it, having no armor and decent mobility, it really helps you play your other French tanks, since most other French tanks fall in that line of thinking. But anyway, thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my website, wotguru.com.